and left me forgotten on that rainy night. She thought I'd just show up the next day like nothing happened. But I forgot everything after turning 16, including her. I went back to the small town from my memories and opened a flower shop. Later, a reality show came to shoot in the town. Under the eyes of the cameras and passers-by, this famous star, with tears in her eyes, ran to the flower shop without caring about her image. I've been in the hospital for a week now, trying to convince the doctor that I'm perfectly fine. But he was sure I had amnesia. It made me laugh. How could I not know if I had amnesia? I told him I remember where I live. I remember my elementary, middle, and high school classmates. How could I have amnesia? I want to be discharged. I'm really okay. Seeing him still unmoved, I pleaded, have a little pity on me. There's not much left in my bank account. My phone's broken. My family must be worried. He looked at me silently for a moment, then nodded reluctantly. All right, fine. Once I stepped outside, I took a deep breath of fresh air. I've had it with that disinfectant smell inside. The warm sun felt good on my skin as I looked around at the now somewhat unfamiliar surroundings. I went around asking people until I found a phone store and bought a phone, feeling a bit lost looking at it. That's when I remembered I'd tossed out my broken phone along with all the numbers in it. Again, I asked around and found my way to get a new SIM card. Right then, a screen on the International Trade Building was showing a star's interview and there was a crowd in front of it. I walked past them, overhearing fans enthusiastically telling someone's uncle and aunt who she was. She's they said, a rising star, very pretty and talented. Keep an eye on her. Curious, I looked up at the big screen, seeing the host smiling while asking, so, a common question from the crowd is, someone as good-looking as any romances that were not meant to be? The woman was stunning, great features, her smile charming. She said, not at the moment, no. The guy next to her, with a sunny boy next door vibe, covered his mouth chuckling. I thought you had one. Now I'm curious. People around whispered about how well they matched. I blinked, feeling she looked a bit familiar, but shrugged it off. Stars often seem familiar, right? So I kept walking. After the interview ended, and went backstage, looking around but not finding me. Her face fell as she asked her manager, "Where's Justin?" Her manager, looking troubled, replied, "I don't know, we can't get in touch. Did something happen to Justin?" And panicked for a second, thinking about that day she left me alone at the hotel, guessing I was probably just sulking again. With that, she felt a bit relieved and told her manager, "Text him. If I don't see him tonight, I don't want to see him anymore." After buying everything I needed and figuring everything out, I looked at my empty hands, wondering if I got mugged on a trip or something. After buying a plane ticket back to W City, I sat waiting to board. Downloading the necessary apps on my phone, I heard a commotion at the entrance. I turned my head. Something big was happening. A crowd surrounding something, phones, and cameras pointed at the center. It seemed like someone famous was there. I shook my head and remembered the doctor's words. "You've definitely forgotten something." Forgotten something? What was it? I felt like I was missing a piece of my memory. I looked again at the big star, who was now going through security checks, and when she took off her mask and sunglasses, I thought I should have seen her somewhere before. Oh, it was that new rising star. And a few months later, lying in a wicker chair at my flower shop, the noon breeze was warm as I watched students with fresh faces just out of school. When I went back to my grandparents' place from my memories, it was empty. Only 2 portraits of my smiling grandparents were on the wall. Looking at the empty small house, a feeling of sadness engulfed me. Turns out, I had lost all memories after 16. My memory stopped when I was in my first year of high school, when my grandparents were still home making my favorite dishes waiting for me to come back from school. I had forgotten those memories, didn't know where my adult self worked or if I got married. And I didn't want to think about it. Something deep inside told me I didn't need to. I told myself it's okay because no one visited me while I was hospitalized. So I opened a flower shop in this town. Open a flower shop, sell flowers, listen to stories, watch the sunrise and sunset, watch the waves roll in. A TV in the shop was playing entertainment news, where the host said, "Top star," and, in an exclusive interview this morning, cleared up her rumored romance with Peter, the lead in the drama Coward, and stated they're just working partners and hoped everyone would see it rationally. And are you crazy? Her manager scolded her, frustrated. Although the drama had finished airing, she hadn't coordinated with the other artists' team before publicly clearing the rumors. It might drive their shippers insane, and stared blankly at our chat, rereading the message she just sent. Peter and I really misunderstood. We were just collaborating for the show. It's time to come back after sulking for so long. It was the first time she lowered her pride to me. Yet for a long time, I hadn't replied a single word. Seeing that she hadn't heard a word he said, her manager angrily turned off her phone screen, raising his voice, and, listen to me. If you wish to keep your career going, stop doing these weird things. Look at those lining up behind you, waiting for a chance. If you step down, a newcomer will fill your spot immediately. As for Justin, you better get a grip on your feelings. He might find a different path. You can't let the kid waste his young years just being a dead-end assistant. Suddenly feeling an ache at his words, she asked, then why didn't he tell me? With the way you've treated him, if I were him, I'd have left in a huff too, wouldn't stick around. Saying what? Anne's face went pale. She couldn't believe I was leaving her. I was the one who said I'd always be by her side from the start. I liked her so much. How could I just leave without saying a word? She thought maybe it was because she left me in the rain that night, and I got mad. She also thought I misunderstood her relationship with Peter. She figured if she explained it, I'd come back soon. The seaside town had my little flower shop right across from the ocean. I sat here every day, placing flowers outside, lounging in my wicker chair, waiting for young couples to buy flowers and take photos. Lately, I couldn't remember much of anything. Then some elementary school kids came by. They squatted in front of my shop, eyes wide, discussing which flower was which. I walked out slowly with a fan, telling them, that's a daisy, that's a blue enchantress, and that's a rose. They looked at me in awe, clapped their hands and said, Big brother, you're so cool, knowing all these flower names. Kids have such wild imaginations. A little girl said, when I grow up, I want to open a flower shop just like you. Another said, I want to be an astronaut. I want to be a superstar, and you can be my assistant, she said, pointing at a boy standing next to her. The boy nodded heavily, saying, yeah, I want to be a superstar's assistant. I watched them with a smile, and suddenly, a blurred image and conversation rushed into my mind. A boy, leaning on his hand, told a girl, you'll be a superstar one day, and I'll be your first fan. The girl just looked down at her homework without a response. Instead of getting mad, the boy cheerfully said, no, I've decided to be a superstar's assistant. Ouch! I held my head and stumbled back into the shop to sit down. When I snapped back to reality, my chest heaved heavily. Who was the girl from the image in my mind? I later found an answer while cleaning the attic. I was going to move some unfinished dried flowers there. While sorting, I discovered an old, worn-out notebook in a box. A few rays of sunlight streamed through the attic window, making the dust in the air visible. Thinking about it, I concluded this book wasn't something I wrote before I turned 16. It had to be something I wrote after. Today, I came to City A with the superstar. City A is really big and beautiful. This wasn't a diary. There was no date. It must have been something I jotted down on a whim. I sat on the stairs against the wall, reading. None of it jogged my memory. I felt like an outsider, peering into a young guy's thoughts. Turning a page, it was dated August 1st. I forgot to bring water for Peter today. That was why she yelled at me. But I'm just her assistant, not Peter's. Is she starting to like Peter too? Who is Peter? I pressed my lips together. The me in the diary seemed really sad. Was she someone I liked? August 2nd. They had a kissing scene today. I know it's part of the job, but I couldn't help feeling sad. Why does that Peter keep interrupting at crucial moments? How many times did they have to kiss? I really wanted to swear. October 11th. Today is both Peter's and my birthday, but she chose to celebrate with Peter. That place was so upscale, and she was so happy. But why is it always me who's left behind? I don't want to like her anymore. The paper, now yellowed, had traces of dried liquid. I gently touched it, feeling stuffy in my chest. I realized I was never anyone's first choice, even as an adult. Why did Justin have to be so self-effacing? November 1st. She kissed me. She must like me. She definitely does. I blinked silently, sighing as I went downstairs. People who aren't loved often overturn all the bad things she did to them just for a taste of sweetness, to craft a self-deluding outcome where she likes them too. After today's shoot, Anne quietly walked back to the trailer. A director who'd worked with her before rubbed his chin, thoughtfully asking, "Where's that kid who was always trailing behind you?" "Haven't seen him since the shoot started." That kid was memorable to him, always smiling, easygoing, running around the set, and when the director got mad, the kid would cheerfully say, "Director, cool off, have some herbal tea. I brought it from home just for you." But Anne was always indifferent, treating him coldly despite his warmth. Hearing about me again, Anne's whole body shook. Her eyes watered as she forced a smile and said, He's been sick lately." The director raised an eyebrow, guessed at the truth, and didn't press further. Back in the trailer and sat in a daze on the chair. It had been so long. I still hadn't returned, as if I had truly left. With a hoarse voice, she called out to the empty trailer, "Justin." Gone was the me who would immediately smile and say, I'm here. Whenever she called for me, she looked at our chat history, tears blurring the screen. "Justin, I was wrong. Where did you go?" December 31st. Lately, I think about when we first came to City A. I had money, but no matter what, she wouldn't use it. Back then, I stayed with her in the basement. Winters were freezing, but she was good to me. Felt like she liked me too. We sent resumes and went to auditions for any small role we could get. Then she skyrocketed to fame from one show, reaching the spot she always dreamed of. Everything became within her reach, and smiles kept growing on her face while ads flooded in. But she seemed to drift further from me. Scandals constantly surrounded her, with one recurring name, to which she never responded. Instead, she seemed to indulge in it. She didn't know, but I could tell. When you're deeply involved, things seem confusing. Outsiders can see clearly. At that time, wasn't I too caught up in it? Mindfully aware yet unable to escape? The sky had darkened, and I looked up to see a full moon. Suddenly, I recalled a phrase I once read. "Is this the same moon I saw as a boy?" Time flies by, life passes swiftly, and some things become regrets. But whatever you experience in life is driven by your determination from that time and place. Looking back, we often think if we did things differently then, outcomes might have been different. People always assume the path not taken would be lined with flowers, overlooking their mindset back then. I walked home under the moonlight. The lazy sun shone into the shop that day, while outside, a kid was running around happily with a pinwheel. His parents followed closely behind, smiling with indulgence. Watching them, I couldn't help but smile myself. That's real happiness. These days, memories often drift back to me. When I was really young, my parents got divorced. They didn't want me, thought I was a burden. They couldn't give me any love, but they gave me a lot of money. In my dim memories, right after finishing my college entrance exams at 18, I packed a suitcase. I wanted to visit my mom. I wanted to tell her that I did well on my exams and that I've been taking good care of myself. But when I finally met her, she was shopping with a boy about my age. The boy was hugging her waist, acting all cute, and she affectionately tapped his nose, smiling helplessly. I suddenly remembered how she used to look at me with impatience and indifference in her eyes. After leaving that building, surrounded by skyscrapers and busy traffic, I wandered aimlessly down the street. That night, I took a flight back home. As the memories faded, I picked up a flower and trimmed off the dead leaves. Justin knows how to live well on his own. This world always has its imperfections. February 4th. When I got up this morning, there was a bouquet of roses in the living room, bright red yet dull. She received them, but they wilted, and she had gotten it wrong. I never gave roses. That was Peter's thing. July 20th. From ages 17 to 27, I've been there for her year after year. That's enough. It's time I start living the life I want. I want to open a flower shop, move back to Downwater Town, tend to the shop, watch the sunrise and sunset, and grow old slowly. The golden sunset reflected softly, and the sea breeze blew from the shore, gently flipping the pages of an old notebook. Back then, I wrote what was supposed to be a diary, but truth be told, it wasn't even dated properly, and there were long gaps between entries. Staring at the notebook lying quietly on the smooth table, it seemed to be conversing with me through endless time. It told me that Justin was lonely back then with no one to turn to, so this was his outlet. He was like a caged animal, placing all his hopes and longing for love on that woman. The breeze turned the page to where only a few words were written. I'm leaving her. Today, the first snow fell in City A, and wrapped up shooting her first scene and turned her gaze towards a snowman in the distance. It's been 4 months since I left her, and it feels like I've completely exited her life. She swallowed hard, letting snowflakes fall on her hand. She used to think it was I who couldn't leave her, but now, with a bitter smile, she realized it was she who couldn't leave me. Not far away, Peter approached with something in his hand, smiling brightly. His carefree grin shocked her, as she hadn't seen me smile like that in ages. Suddenly, Peter tripped over a stone and fell. But rather than getting up, he stayed there, knowing she'd come to help, no matter the distance. In that instant, a memory flashed in her mind. Once, during a theater break, Justin was carrying a toy and fell because he wasn't watching his step. Meanwhile, Peter twisted his ankle on the nearby steps. What did she do then? Her heart clenched painfully, tears filling her eyes. I was right next to her, yet she didn't turn back, rushing instead to help Peter to the hospital. At that moment, she didn't move. She looked up at the falling snowflakes, tears streaming down her face. Peter, seeing and still not helping, walked over annoyed. Why didn't you come help me? And glanced at Peter, and he turned away petulantly. In her memory, Justin never threw fits, always thrilled for just one kind word, one piece of candy. Her heart ached for Justin, and she felt like she could have killed herself. Then she walked away. What had she really done to Justin all those years? And Peter called out angrily as she walked away without a word of concern. Time passed slowly, and then it hit me. There was always a faceless woman in my mind. She wasn't particularly kind, but one day, when I missed my grandparents dearly, she gave me a candy and a hug. The candy was sweet, sweet right to the heart. That embrace was warm, warm enough to ease all the scars she later left. I sighed deeply, knowing kids without shoes had to tread quickly, and those deprived of love often sought it in small things. Justin, how pitiful. I looked up. The sky was darkening, threatening rain. Hurriedly, I moved the flowers inside. Unkempt soil had me slip, falling flat on my back, the plant shattering. I clutched my bruised tailbone, scrambling up. Ouch, that hurt. Worse still, many flowers were left outside. Frowned up, massaging my backside, I went to fetch them. Struggling to lift a bucket of flowers, a woman's joyful, tremulous voice reached me. Justin, is that you? Me? Peeking through the flowers, I saw a crowd, cameras at the ready. A beautiful woman looked at me with delight, though the tall, handsome guy beside her wasn't pleased. Short on time, I couldn't be bothered to chat. I tossed out a yeah, sure. Right as I turned, under the gaze of the crowd and cameras, this top star's eyes watered as she ran towards me, forgetting her image. Blocking my path, I thought, what do you want? Can't you see I'm busy? But I smiled. Ma'am, you want to buy some flowers? The joy drained from his face just then. Staring blankly at me, she opened her mouth. Justin, are you still mad at me? Looking her over, I remembered her from the screen that one time. But her words were odd since we didn't know each other. Why would I be mad? Sighing, I replied, sorry, you must have got the wrong guy. We've never met. And hey, if you're not buying flowers, kindly step aside. Thanks. She stood stunned as I moved past her. She suddenly seemed to snap out of a trance and said, are we moving the flowers? Let me help you. Hearing this, I turned around and saw she was carrying a bucket in each hand. I shrugged. Can't pass up free help, right? Once we were done, I was about to close up the shop and head home. She looked at me with bright eyes, like a little kid waiting for praise. I looked at her, then at Peter under the eaves, gritting his teeth. I'll find something for you to eat, I said. I rummaged through a box and actually found 2 drinks. I handed one to Anne with a polite smile. Thanks. This is for your boyfriend. I said, I'm closing up. It's going to rain soon. You should get going. And looked flustered, quickly rebutting. No, you've got it wrong. There's nothing between us. We're here for a show. Peter almost started crying but looked at me with resentment. I was speechless. What did I do to you? I rolled my eyes inwardly, snatching the drink back from and I said, I was being nice, but I'll just drink it myself. I ignored them and walked off on my own. Justin, and called after me, trying to explain, you've misunderstood. He and I are just partners. Did you see the news? I cleared it up. I poked a straw into the drink, gave her a sideways glance. I already told you, I'm heading home. Stop following me. Don't think just because you're a celebrity I won't call you out. I added, stop following me and causing trouble. Whatever's going on with you two is none of my business. The streets were full of people hurrying home from work, and Anne's face turned pale in the crowd. She grabbed my hand in a panic. Justin, what's wrong with you? Don't scare me. Oh man, this headache. What's worse is Peter trailing behind. They're both big stars, their fans are no joke. I seriously pulled my hand back. I'm telling you again, I really am Justin, but not the one you know. You're mistaking me for someone else. Just the same name. Stop following me or that guy behind you will get the wrong idea. Goodbye. And then, rain started falling like marbles. I used my hand to protect my head, and the drop stung a bit. What a day. Told you it was going to rain, and you still blocked me everywhere. Quickened my pace. And realized and shouted from behind, Justin, watch out. As soon as she said it, I stepped in a small pothole I hadn't seen, went down hard. Justin, and cried out, running over to see if I was okay. Pain shot through my hand and knee, mud and water all over me. I gritted my teeth, the rain blurring my vision as I struggled to get up. Jinx. And seeing me fall, let out a cry and started toward me. Anne's hands were fists, and as she turned, I was already limping away. Showered and hair dried, I saw the diary on my desk. And Peter, sitting at the desk. I thought it over. Was this coincidence? Just my luck. Life turned upside down again. The next day at 9, stepping out, and stood there in front of my door. She looked exhausted, eyes shadowed like she hadn't slept. Seeing me, she rushed up and slapped her own face. Justin, I'm sorry. I didn't know it would turn out like that. If I had known, I wouldn't have done that. I was wrong. Give me one more chance. Come home with me, please. I looked at her, feeling nothing at all. Don't know if the old me would forgive, but as I am now, nope. I walked away coldly, just stay away, and looked at me, pleading, Justin, you've lost your memory. Let's see a doctor, please. When you remember, we'll get married. She seemed genuinely in pain, but, smiling, I asked, you like me? She nodded quickly, pulling out roses from behind her. I laughed at the bright, fresh roses, but sorry, I don't. Sweeping them away, petals scattered and danced with the wind, and stared at them, motionless, as though all strength had left her. You remember this? I shot back coldly. I never liked roses. The one who did was Peter. And you, claiming you like me, yet running to him. Are you insulting me or the word like itself? She shook her head, eyes tearful. Justin. Peter ran over and shoved me hard. How dare you treat her like this? Angry, he glared before turning to console and stepped aside, avoiding his touch. Who asked you to come here? Peter, hurt, said. She treats you like that and I'm looking out for you. Why are you mad at me? I kept walking. These two drama queens, I couldn't compete. Justin listened to me and pursued, explaining softly, I don't know how he found us, it wasn't me. I sighed. What part of what I said was unclear? She mumbled, Justin, you're unwell. When you're better, we'll be too. I stared blankly at her. Ever hear this one from God? And seemed eager at my question, shaking her head childishly. What is it? I will heal you, so I hurt you. I love you, so I punish you. What does that sound like? She asked eagerly. Like what? Like bullshit, I said flatly. She didn't fight back, just laughed, ready for any insult, and acting like she was quitting showbiz, followed me around. Her manager begged her several times. She just sat outside, saying nothing. Her fans were calling her back online. Haven't seen Peter since. The agent came to see me again, and I snapped at him. Are you crazy? Am I her mom or dad? Are you kidding me? Get lost. His face turned beet red. He didn't expect me to react like that. Then he said, it's been a tough ride for her. Are you really going to watch her fall from grace? I was arranging flowers, and honestly, he was right. I said casually, yeah, I kinda want to see that happen. Later, I ran into Peter. I told him I felt like having some cake. It was a rare request for Anne, who looked at me with bright eyes and said with a smile, wait here, I'll be right back. Peter looked at me coldly, saying bitterly, I really thought you'd die that rainy night. You must be lucky. His words didn't faze me. I just pressed my lips together, staying silent. But he couldn't keep it together. He tossed a check at me. Here's $1 million. Leave the country, never come back, and stay away from Anne. It was almost funny, picking up that check. It felt like something out of a cliché romance novel happening to me. I looked up at Peter. He stood there, arms crossed, glaring like a spoiled rich kid. Well, he actually was a rich kid, and I'd seen him before a long time ago. It was just after my college entrance exams, with my mom holding a boy's hand. That boy was him. The second time I saw him with the woman he was with was when and left me for that birthday party. That day, he was in the spotlight, surrounded by admirers, so radiant. Why aren't you saying anything? He frowned and then seemed to relax. Not enough? No problem, here's a blank check. Write down whatever you want. I can satisfy you. His smug smile was so annoying. I took the $1 million check. Truth is, I was jealous of him back then. He took my mom away and seriously, life isn't fair. That evening, I was headed home after closing up, and quietly followed behind me, dressed all in black, blending into the night, looking sad and pitiful. I was munching on a pastry from a street vendor while strolling home, under the long leafy path, with moonlight casting silvery glows everywhere. The houses lining the long street were all lit up. Where there's light, there's someone waiting. Justin, what are you thinking about? And asked softly, hope in her eyes. I didn't answer, just kept walking. My road in life might just be the lonely one. With parents who didn't care, both cheated, got divorced, and left me with money but no love. And like this now was boring to me. She's always trying to make me remember the past. She thinks if I remember, we might have a chance. They say you can't wake someone who's pretending to sleep. As smart as Anne is, couldn't she guess that? She's just pretending. One day, she came in with a lunchbox, smiling as she opened it. Look, these are your favorite marinated chicken feet. Every time I wasn't on a business trip, you'd buy a big bag for us to snack on while watching shows. I learned a little, try if they taste right. Her hands were covered with bandages, looking awful. I sighed, and stop wasting time on me. I'm pretty content with my life alone, and hugged me tightly, feeling I really didn't want her. But Justin, I don't want to lose you. During the time you weren't around, I didn't even know how I got through it. When shooting, you always liked to talk near me, you'd come home with me, cook for me, and smile at me. But then you left, and it's like a piece of me was missing. It hurts. It hurts so much. I can't be without you, Justin. Please, let's go home. You used to say Justin should like, and for a long, long time. I felt the wetness on my shoulder, but my heart didn't stir. My mind wandered back to that time, at 18 on Wu Taishan, heavy with snow. Maybe, back then, the me of before couldn't believe just how much I liked her, enough to lose myself, yet now I feel nothing. Not even sadness or hate. Outside, the leaves of the big tree fell with the wind. Seasons change, autumn is here, leaves follow nature's rule, turning yellow and falling. In this train ride of life, some people teach you things, but they're just passengers. When their stop comes, they leave. I gently patted her back, like she comforted me when I lost my grandparents at 17. And we both need to move forward. Before she left, red-eyed and carrying her suitcase, she came to the shop. She looked so thin. She asked, "Justin, will you be here forever?" I replied, "No." A tear slipped from her eyes. Her grip on the suitcase turned white. She stood there for a long time. When the time comes, where will she look for me? Will she even find me? Her voice was hoarse, filled with despair. "So, I lost you that rainy night." I didn't see her off that day, just watched planes fly overhead, guessing which one she might be on. Letting go, I've been experiencing it since I was young. Parents' lack of love, grandparents passing, and past indifference. Walking that road again tonight, once again it's just me. The moon is bright, the path ahead a bit dark. But it's fine, I'll walk on lightly without looking back.